For me, comics can really... It's just kind of a visual metaphor for, and sort of collage them together and make them into a kind of new art form. But I don't make ordinary books. I always try to make the work I want and experiment with new styles of art. Use stuff that I've never used before.
Writer Gareth Brooks loves to try something new. Last winter, he visited the snow-covered Jejudo Island.
I think wherever you travel, just being somewhere different in itself it puts you in a completely different state of mind. So wherever you go, it can really feed into your art, and you've just got to make sure that you pay attention and keep your eyes and ears open.
Stepping out of the familiar and into the unknown. That's what makes traveling similar to art.
Traveling can be a teacher. It can expand my artistic vision. Like a landscape, or different colours and different light, different way that people speak and different characters. I've seen a lot of stuff that I'm sure will inspire me to make new work in the future. That's why it's been so exciting to travel in Jejudo Island.
Located on the southernmost tip of Korea, Jejudo Island has unique scenery and culture that sets it apart from the mainland.
My name's Gareth Brooks. In the UK, I draw comics, make graphic novels, teach, and just spend most of my time in the studio drawing or painting or printmaking or sewing.
Gareth Brooks is an accomplished British graphic novelist. Graphic novels are a combination of comics and stories. It's an art genre that puts together original graphics and profound narratives. Gareth's works draw attention for applying techniques such as Linocuts that are rarely used in comics.
It took 5 years to make my first book, so quite long. But every day I was making prints and practicing. And I think at the start my prints were quite tight and inhibited, but now that I've been doing it for so many years, I can be quite expressive with my cuts. An idea for a story, idea or message or theme that I'm trying to convey. So I really like to experiment with new techniques and use stuff that I've never used before.
Recently, he has begun using embroidery in his work. Embroidery is a painstaking, time-consuming process, but it's also an effective tool for conveying his message.
for certain projects, I've used fire. For example, it was about memory, how kind of memories get destroyed. So I was like making these burn marks here in the borders, and these frames would have an image behind them, and then it would be sort of revealed by the burning fire. It's just kind of a visual metaphor for creation and destruction. So it's kind of, I like the process of meticulously stitching something and then destroying it in a few seconds.
Gareth's journey begins in a street named after the renowned Korean artist Lee Jung-sup. Decorated with Lee Jung-sup's paintings, this street is reminiscent of an outdoor art gallery. Although the artist lived on the island for less than a year, his paintings vividly show what his life was like at the time. To Lee Jung-sup, Jeju was a place full of joy. Young artists who frequent the street give it color and a vibrant energy.
안녕하세요. These are lovely. Do you get these ideas from?
풍경에서 영감을 받고 만든 거예요. 제주 꽃들인데요. 이거는 유채꽃, 이건 동백, 이거는 수국 이렇게 보고 하고, 이거는 제주 감귤이고요. 어디 가나 많이 보이실 거예요. 그걸 형상화해서 만든 거예요.
So I make embroideries as well. I do sewing. I like the way that these motifs are quite abstract, but yet they come from a specific place here on Jejudo Island.
The flower embroideries catch his eye. Flowers are one of his favorite subjects. He especially enjoys experimenting with pressed flowers. Flowers bloom year-round in Jeju. Gareth met his travel mate at a place known for its enchanting camellia blossoms. Lithuanian artist and illustrator Agne Lataniti. She decided to settle down on the island 4 years ago, mesmerized by its beauty. Agne has created diverse characters and stories about the unique culture of Jeju, seen through the eyes of a European, such as the stone grandfather Dol Harobang, shamanism, and women divers Henyo. Wimiri in Soguipo is one of the best places to see camellia flowers even in the middle of winter.
Wow, this is lovely.
How do you like it?
It's beautiful.
It's called Camellia Flowers. In Korean, it's tombegot. Try smelling one. Jeju has different colors all around the year, but this is blooming only in winter.
Oh, winter.
Yeah. So it's kind of flowers and winter isn't natural, but Jeju is like this.
Jeju stays vibrant even in winter, when nature hibernates. It's blanketed in red camellia flowers. They symbolize vitality because of their ability to survive even in the icy wind.
So, tell me about how you work. How would you approach subject matter like this?
Well, then there's such a beautiful subject matter. The thing I love is colors. So I usually look at the different variations of colors, and basically I think in colors and I think in shapes, and then how to shape the thing into something living being.
Yeah.
How do you plan to, do you have any inspiration?
I'm just paying a lot of attention to the flower. I'm not looking too much at the paper. I'm looking at different darks and lights and just trying to understand how the flower is put together and what makes it look like it does. I think that's a nice way of allowing the weather and the landscape to interact with what I'm doing. What I'm interested in is the lines and the kind of three-dimensionalness of it and the structure of it, and I think it's kind of, it sort of symbolises life. Just to see different cultures, to see different landscapes, to see different things that I haven't seen before, to learn new things, new techniques and meet new people. All those things go into your artwork, I think. All those things feed your artistic practice.
Suddenly, white snowflakes begin to fly among the red camellia flowers. A mysterious island, appearing almost untouched by human hands. Its scenery and stories are different from what makes up mainland Korea. That's the reason it attracts so many artists. People now call this beautiful island the Island of Artists. The two artists head to the seaside. Wind turbines and lighthouses along the coastline add to the stunning view.
Amazing scenery you have. Got the black rocks and the sky.
It's like blue, black, and yellow.
Yeah.
Jeju.
Yeah. And the ocean seems to be a different colour wherever you go.
Yeah, that's right. They say that Jeju people, they can tell at what side of an island you are just based on the color of the sea.
Really? Wow.
The waves rise and fall with the strong winds. There is a village here that has survived the turbulence of nature and time.
So much wind.
It's very windy today.
Jeju is famous for rocks, you know?
Uh-huh.
It's famous for three things, actually.
Wind.
Then
I've got that.
rocks,
Okay.
and then third one, try to guess. Women.
Women.
Yeah.
Right.
So we are now in Gimyeong village, and Gimyeong is famous for women divers.
Yeah.
Do you know what haenyeo is?
No, what is that?
Haenyeo, a woman diver. And this is like a sequence, you can see. This is a mother diver, and she is raising her head to the kid.
Oh, okay.
And so in the past, when the woman would go dive, they like never come back. So the kid is like, don't go, mom. So it's a very sad story, but...
She has to go to get the fish. So what's this?
Oh, there was this project of gathering a lot of artists and make art related to Jeju.
The walls are adorned with various metal artworks. They portray the history and culture of the island, including the tough lives of Jeju women divers, known as haenyeo. Thanks to these artworks, this small fishing village has become a tourist attraction.
I think travelling expands your horizons and it makes you realise that there's more possibilities. Even the materials that they use to build buildings and roads and the materials that different artists work on, all these things influence you as an artist and make you realise that, so wherever you go, it can really feed into your art, and you've just got to make sure that you pay attention and keep your eyes and ears open.
How did you like today?
It was great. It's nice to be indoors with some nice hot tea though.
back from the snow and wind. How was your sketch?
It went okay. I think I'm going to try and make it into a
Can you show it?
finished piece of work. Yeah. Ooh. So I'm going to try and
Wow.
fill this up into a more finished sketch.
It's very detailed. This is actually my book of Jeju sketches.
Okay.
I draw things, so I like drawing characters. And today, when I was drawing the flower, I was thinking about maybe making it in a character later. I'm interested about your technique. Can you show it?
Yeah. I'm going to try and make this into one of my crayon drawings. I've been using this crayon technique where I put on layers of crayon and then scratch it back. It takes a while, but I've got...
It's not like a while, but I mean, it's so interesting what comes out.
Yeah, and again, you don't quite know how these colours are going to work because after you've scratched, the colours are actually completely different from...
Gareth uses crayons to create a unique texture, reminiscent of wood printing. He is known to experiment with ordinary materials in extraordinary ways.
It's a bit like the fire, using fire. I like to make the drawing and then cover it completely and then sort of excavate it again. In the book that I've drawn using that technique, the woman in it is going blind, so it's kind of an appropriate process to express her blindness.
The two artists record their travels in their sketchbooks. What does Jeju look like in Agne's work?
So that's a really strong character design. What do you think about when you're drawing it? Do you start from a character or an attitude? Or?
I started drawing a Camellia flower, and then I just saw this kind of fairy kind of character sitting on top of it. Well, it's Jeju, but my characters, it's always some kind of mix between East and West.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I have these fairy characters I've been drawing for the past few months here in Jeju. So like, if the fairy is protecting flower seeds, so she will have flowers on her hand. If the fairy is protecting some tree, she will have a tree on her hand. I want to give you.
Oh, thank you.
It has a remembrance today.
Thank you. Well, if you've got something to take it home in, so you don't get all these bits all over your bag, then I would like to give you this.
Well, thank you.
The first day of the trip comes to an end. Gareth and Agne get warm by a campfire. How will they remember today's trip?
Gareth, it was a long day.
Long day, yeah. We've seen so much.
This is the last place I wanted you to feel the mood of Jeju.
Yeah. Nice to be near a nice warm fire.
And in the middle of the forest. And I hope you can see more of Jeju.
Me too, yeah.
You know, Gareth, traveling with another artist on Jeju is a little bit different than showing around for like just simple friends, touristic objects. And drawing together was very, very fun.
Yeah, it was, wasn't it? It's always nice to make work with a fellow artist.
And even though you're like drawing a non-speaker word, but the creative energy in the air are the
Absolutely, yeah.
I'm really excited to see what new things are going to be in your artworks inspired by Jeju.
Yeah, I look forward to seeing what you come up with next as well.
Well, I definitely want to try your technique.
Yeah.
And because it comes out very nice, and I'm looking forward to see new techniques you develop.
Excellent. Well, make sure you let me see what you come up with when you try my techniques too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
The two instantly became friends through the common language of art. They shared their creativity and inspired each other. Agne wants to publicize the beauty of Jeju to the world through her work. She hopes that Gareth, too, will experience the same inspiration that she gets from the island. Millions of years ago, this place was a vast ocean until a volcano erupted and created a large island with an unusual topography.
I'm not sure what to expect because I haven't been here before, but I'd like to see, there's a lot I want to see. The landscape, the cliffs, the sea. I think the starting point for any artist is always nature. Nature is always interesting to an artist, but we'll see how the island inspires me and what I'll create when I'm here.
The gigantic Jusangjoli cliff is breathtaking. It was formed when volcanic lava flowed into the sea and cooled down abruptly, resulting in these marvelous hexagonal pillars. Jusangjoli topped Gareth's list of must-see places in Jeju. What is it like to see firsthand?
I was really just looking at the cliff and letting my hands do whatever my eye was seeing. Really interesting structures, and while I'm drawing it, I feel like I can see faces and bodies in it. It reminds me of a children's story where people get turned into stone. The volcanic rock is really, really fascinating, and it kind of, obviously it's been here for hundreds of thousands or millions of years, and over time the sea has destroyed it and torn it down, and so it's always changing. So that's what it represents for me.
Volcano, wind, and waves. An island shaped by Mother Nature over a long time. Its extraordinary scenery inspires Gareth as an artist. Jeju is known for its rocks, winds, and women. Jeju residents used volcanic rocks to build walls and cultivated the island's barren soil to grow crops. That's why Jeju remains green even in the winter. These volcanic rocks played a pivotal role in creating a culture that's unique to Jeju. Gareth visits a place where rocks become art. Gumnung Stone Park puts on display the works of a renowned sculptor.
So tell me about these sculptures. What do they mean?
여기 이제 제주 이제 옛날 60년, 70년대 이제 생활상을 나타낸 겁니다. 여기 제주 그 60년, 70년대 이제 살았던 이제 초가집을 이는 형태. 예, 동네 마을 주민들 다 모아가지고 여기는 이제 저희 부친이 제주 현무암을 가져가지고 이제 제주 문화를 이제 나타낸 겁니다. 생활상을 조각으로 해서 전부 다.
These sculptures were produced over the past 50 years. They portray the difficult lives of Jeju residents who are up against the harsh elements of the island. Nevertheless, each of the sculptures wears a humorous expression.
Is it easy to work with? Do you use chisels and things like that?
이 조각하기 힘들어요. 제주도로 이제 구멍이 있어서 이제 질긴 역할을 해요. 안 떨어지려고. 그래서 조각하기 힘들어요.
This is where Master Jang Kong-ik works. He has to use the hammer hundreds of times a day.
돌나루로 이제 만드는 거예요. 이거는 이제 제주에만 있는 거예요. 아주 특이한 거죠. 수호신 역할을 하는 거. 이제 마을이면 이 마을을 지켜주는 이제 하루방으로서 그런 이제 이제 세워주고 이제.
The stone grandfather Dol Harubang is the symbol of the island. Master Jang has produced more than 100,000 stone grandfathers. He is lauded for best restoring the original shape of the Dol Harubang.
이거는 이제 제주도를 만든 이제 설문대 할망, 제주 신. 제주도는 이제 신들이 많아요. 당도 많고 전 지역에 이제 해안가 쪽이나 이제 제주말로 하면 이제 웃두리, 산간지방. 그 당들을 모셔놓고 제를 항상 지냈어요.
So how important is shamanism in Jeju Island?
아무래도 이게 섬이다 보니까 이제 바닷가로 이제 나가시는 이제 배 타서 나가는 뭐를 이제 무사 안녕으로 잘 갔다 오시라고 이제 그런 식으로 이제 소원을 비는 거죠, 당에다.
For what I do, making comics and graphic novels, it's all about telling stories, and anything to do with that kind of narrative is fascinating to me. I'm interested in any type of story, really. That's always inspirational to me. I think everything that you do affects your artwork, maybe years later in your artwork, in unexpected ways.
An island with many stories. This time, it's snow. Under the blanket of snow, the island is surreally beautiful. Gareth is here to see a very special tree.
Hi, how you doing?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm Gareth.
I'm Joey. Yeah.
Good to meet you.
Are you traveling in this area?
I am, yeah, I'm from London. How about you?
Oh, I'm taking pictures of the trees in the different neighborhoods around Jeju Island.
Oh, so what kind of trees are these then?
These aren't normal trees. These are trees that are dedicated to spirits that reside in each of Jeju's villages. Oh. It's an ancient religion that the people of Jeju, especially the elderly people of Jeju, practice.
Oh, and this is a shrine, right?
Yeah, this is a shrine. So this thread hanging in the tree is a particular type of offering. It's called mengshil in the local language. And meng is associated with life, and shil means string. So it's kind of like life string. And villagers hang that there in order to wish their children and their offspring a long life.
Jeju residents believe that there are deities in stones, winds, trees, everything around them. Rosa Tano is a documentary photographer from the US. He settled down on the island 12 years ago. He has visited more than 100 shrines to capture images of shamanism and has produced a documentary film about Jeju myths.
This is the book that I published 2 years ago, actually. And this is just a small selection of all the villages that I visited, but there are maybe 25 villages are in this book.
Oh, great.
This is a village, Woljang. You may have visited there. How it looks when there is a shaman leading the ceremony.
Oh.
In Jeju Island, shamans are called shimbang. God speaking through the shaman gives advice to the mayor of the village.
Right.
So even in Jeju, this kind of culture is very, very important.
So what made you first start collecting myths and researching shrines and photographing them?
Jeju is a very picturesque place. It's a very beautiful place. And, you know, the shrines and the trees and the offerings, it has an aesthetic draw for me. But greater than that is the idea that these are places of healing and how the gods kind of provide a certain type of psychological healing for the villagers. That's why I do it. I'm really interested in each individual story in the village.
People offer money and food to hold worship rituals.
여기.
아, 여기입니까?
여기 뭐 빨간 헝겊, 저 파란 거, 노란 거 막 해서 여기 달리는데.
아, 네. 사람들 개인으로 옵니까?
개인으로 자기 소원 드리고 싶은 사람이 여기 와요.
네. I've been documenting shamanic shrine worship on Jeju Island, South Korea, for the last 5 years. Jeju Island is a beautiful, once more remote place than it is today, located about 60 kilometers south of mainland South Korea. My interest was piqued in shamanism and shamanic shrines a few years ago when I started working on a related project with Korean friends that villagers would relate to me. I heard amazing stories in every village that I visited, stories of faith and stories of survival, and these stories seemed to get more and more interesting as time went by. But I didn't just make a film about the shrines. I did years of research. I collected recordings of myths recited by shamans and interviewed hundreds of people to make a real record of individual stories.
Jeju's folk beliefs have a long history. Each village has its own deity, giving in total about 18,000 deities on the island. That's why Jeju is also called the Island of Gods.
So what's the most interesting aspect of this for you? Is it the human side, the stories, or is it the actual ritual itself, or is it the history? What's the most important?
Yeah, I think the rituals are really interesting and really amazing. You know, the first time I saw the rituals, I really felt like it was a very foreign thing to me, but I got used to it over time. But the really important aspect for me is the human aspect. I'm interested in each person in the village, their individual struggle and their connection to the gods through the shaman and what it means in their life and how that connection functions in their life. Presently, there are probably around 300 shrines in Jeju. Well, twice a year, the old people in this village, and they have a ceremony called a gut. It's a shamanistic ritual that, you know, all the village people will come here with offerings, and they believe if they make offerings to the gods that reside in the shrine, which can be different in each village, but more or less it's kind of, you know, decorations that the gods like. Then they can receive blessings throughout the year.
To Jeju residents, the ocean was a means to make a living. It meant they had to put their lives on the line. When they hit limits in their struggle against the sea, against nature, they created their own gods and relied on them. That's why so many gods exist in Jeju.
Jeju people believe that if the shaman sings the myth, it's a way that the humans and the gods can meet together in some interesting and special way, and they can kind of, have empathy for each other's struggles through the telling of kind of the myth. God speaking through the shaman gives advice to the mayor of the village. So even in Jeju, this kind of culture is very, very important. They call this music, the kind of like healing songs. Participating and listening to the myths themselves are believed to give healing to the attendees at the shrine.
The locals resorted to shamanism to pray for their well-being and good luck. How does Gareth understand the stories of these people who had no other choice but to believe in gods?
I was interested in the idea of the dress floating at the bottom of the sea, so I just kind of drew it entangled in seaweed and kind of with all sort of bubbles and to show that it was underwater. The idea of it kind of floating out quite gracefully. I loved learning about shamanism. I think that was completely fascinating. It's so different from other Western religions and ideas that I've come across. So that to me was like really interesting, something I'm definitely going to think about more and research more into when I get back. I've seen a lot of stuff that I'm sure will inspire me to make new work in the future.
An island of unique history and culture. An island of mysterious and intriguing stories. But its biggest charm is, of course, its nature. The natural landscape is a work of art in itself.
Yeah, like travelling on Jeju's been amazing. You only have to drive a little way to be in a completely different landscape. Different parts of the island look completely different. I think it expands your horizons and it makes you realise that there's more possibilities. It seems like I can see how it would be inspirational to artists.
Like Gareth, many artists are fascinated by the natural beauty of Jeju. It continues to attract creative minds to the island, who come here to express their world of art by connecting with nature.
Hi, 안녕하세요.
Hi.
How are you?
How are you?
What are you sketching?
제주 그림이 좋아서 이렇게 주로 스케치를 하는데 특히 그 중에서 이 얼음과 돌 그리고 억새, 바람 이걸 주제로 해서 그리고 있어요.
Artist Chae Hyung-young has lived on the island for more than 3 decades. He decided to move here because of its resplendent natural scenery.
육지에서 작업을 하다가 여기 온 지가 한 37년 됐는데요. 제주 풍경이 너무 좋아서 항상 여기 와서 스케치를 하는데 특히 제주도에 보면 얼음과 이런 억새들이 내 마음을 이렇게 잡아서 여기에 내려앉았어요. 그래서 이 제주도 풍경을 주로 그리는데 제주도는 이 산들을 보면 알 수 있듯이 완만한 곡선으로 이루어졌습니다. 그래서 어떤 제주도의 어떤 풍경들은 여성적인 어떤 그 성향을 가지고 있어서 선인들이 이렇게 전부 다 부드럽습니다.
Chae Hyung-yang always depicts the natural environment of Jeju as a serene place, perfect for humans.
I'm interested because I love drawing and making drawings, and I'm wondering how a landscape like this affects your art. So do you have any favourite techniques for sketching?
있는 그대로를 옮기는 것이 아니라 이 자연은 제가 잠시 그 대상을 빌릴 뿐이에요. 그래서 그 대상을 그 눈높이로 보는 것이 아니라 새가 보는 그 각도에서 이렇게 조감법으로 해서 이렇게 그림을 그려요. 그래서 지금은 이 정도지만 그림 그릴 때는 더 이렇게 새가 위에서 보는 것처럼 더 그릴 거예요. 이 스케치는 그냥 스케치일 뿐이고 가면은 이제 캠퍼스 위에 다시 재구성한 작품들을 다시 거기다 옮길 거예요. 이 근처에 가면 제 그림이 어떻게 구성되어 있는지 볼 수 있는 공간이 있어요.
Artists love the island, and in return, Jeju offers them a place where they can work. It's the artist's village. In the middle of this serene natural landscape stands an art gallery. It puts on display Chae Hyung-yang's paintings. These extraordinary works capture the very essence of the island as the artist sees it.
저는 원래 동양화를 수묵화로부터 시작을 했기 때문에 제 그림의 밑바탕은 문인화에서부터 시작된다고 볼 수 있어요. 모든 그림들이 좀 면처럼 보이지만 모든 게 다 선으로 이루어져 있죠.
Tell me about the story behind this painting. What's the narrative in this painting?
그 동양 철학의 도가 사상이 바탕인데요. 무의자연, 즉 모든 것들을 자연으로 되돌아가자는 그런 의미예요. 그래서 그냥 제주의 풍경이 아닌 제주를 이 그림을 통해서 이 평화로운 메시지를, 그리고 또 자유로운 메시지, 자연으로 돌아가자는 노자 장자의 메시지를 전하고 싶은 그런 바람이 있습니다.
Jeju portrayed by artist Chae Hyung-yang is natural and touched by the surreal. For example, this red bird in his paintings.
내 그림에는 가끔 이 붉은 새가 등장을 해요. 이 붉은색은 동양에서는 기쁨과 희망, 부를 또 상징하는 그런 색이에요.
Chae Hyung-yang is known for his unconventional techniques. He likes to use experimental methods, such as coating the canvas with a soft material and searing it with an iron.
What's this expressing?
제주도에 그 바람에 막 부대끼면서 컸던 그 나무들, 그러니까 어찌 보면 이 나무들이 그 민초들의 삶과 같은 굳굳하게 자라는 그 제주도의 나무들을 표현하는 거라고 보면 되겠어요.
So why are you using the melting process? What's the idea behind it?
수묵화에서 제주도를 표현하기가 일정 부분 좀 이렇게 무리가 아닌가라는 걸 생각을 했고, 그렇다 하면 이걸 조금 입체적인 부분이나 아니면 질감이나 스크래치나 아니면 요철이든지 입체적인 이런 부분을 좀 여기다 가미를 해서 이것저것 사용하다가 우연치 않게 녹여내는 이런 과정을 발견하게 됐는데, 또 그걸 통해서 실험을 계속 하다 보니까 여기까지 오게 된 것이라고 보면 되겠습니다.
Chae Hyung-yang experiments with different techniques in order to find the best way to express the theme of his work.
They're very different to anything that I've seen coming from the UK or Europe. He's invented a way of doing things that's all his own. I think they're very interesting. When I heard him talk about landscape being internal, I could definitely see that in his painting. Also, his paintings are like storytelling paintings as well, and that's interesting to me. You know, through my comics and graphic novels, I tell stories too. I think that's the thing that was most inspirational to me today.
Inspired by his works, Gareth decides to create his own piece of art using a printmaking technique. Gareth, too, likes to experiment with new techniques to convey his stories in the most effective way. He and artist Chae Hyung-yang have a different, yet similar style of working.
Just sort of freedom in general. And when you kind of spot them in his paintings, and you know what that symbolises, it makes it more wistful and meaningful. I wanted to capture, because it's a very windy day today, so I wanted to express the windiness, see if I could do that through the lino cut. That's what the tree kind of symbolised, the windswept, sort of hardy, windswept tree just sort of clinging on to life. I guess I was trying to get that into my image. Making my first graphic novel, which I made hundreds and hundreds of these lino cuts. I think when he was melting the paint, I think it's a good metaphor from what I understand now. So I was inspired this morning by your drawing of the windswept trees. With the mark making, I was just trying to get a balance between black and white, and then sort of contrast that with the quite big, violent gouges that I can make with my big lino cut tool. So that was what I was the effect I was trying to get. So yeah, it was important. I wanted to get the feeling of the wind going past, so I had more light on this side, and I wanted to leave these sort of marks here to sort of represent the wind coming past, and have these white bits here to kind of represent that that's where the wind was starting from. Also, I kind of wanted the top area to be a little lighter than this area, so that you could have a kind of the feeling that that was part of the landscape too.
제주 나무 바람에 부대끼는 그런 나무들을 아마 마음으로 보듬은 것 같은데, 더군다나 단편적으로 흑백으로 이렇게 칼라 없이 흑백으로 판화로 표현하니까 좀 더 색다른 느낌이 나는 것 같아요.
This time, Chae Hyung-yang draws something for Gareth.
예술을 하는 사람들로서 어쨌든 공감대를 이뤘고 오랜 친구를 만난 듯한 그런 느낌을 받았어요. 친구의 준 거에 대해서 기쁘게 생각하고 이걸 잘 소장하시기를 바라면서 자.
It's a surprise gift for Gareth. Art has the power to help people communicate over language barriers and inspire each other. What words can fully describe the beauty of Jejudo Island? Gareth visits a quiet, peaceful village before wrapping up his journey. He decides to spend some time alone to think about his trip. What kind of work does he want to create based on the inspirations he has gained along the way?
I wanted to make a piece that summed up all my experiences on Jeju. I wanted to make a piece about the landscape, because I think that the landscape shapes a lot of what goes on here on the island. So I wanted to make a landscape, and they live their lives with this beautiful landscape around them, always unchanging.
Gareth chooses embroidery to express his experience. With every stitch, he expresses the impressions he has received during his stay on Jejudo Island.
You can make it quite detailed, so you have to make each stitch count. All the stitches have to go in the same direction to make the curve of a shape or the line. So yeah, you need to be careful how you use it.
Grass waving in the wind and a reed field. Why did he choose this theme?
The pampas grass seemed like a good metaphor for the people here. They're sort of blown by the winds of history, so I feel like that's a good way of summing up everything I've experienced here. And they sort of live in this mountainous landscape, they sort of live here and live out their lives in this environment. And the burning represents their lives and their memories being sort of blown by the winds of time, I suppose. And it's kind of like seeds being blown on the wind.
Gareth's work depicts the perseverance of Jeju residents and the beautiful landscape that reflects them.
It was really good to meet other artists that are working here and to see what materials and processes they're using. And when you go back, you can see everything that you've been doing in your studio completely fresh and approach it in a completely different way.